So many people are choosing to move out of the city right now. They're choosing to move off grid. They're choosing to move to the country, to move to a rural area, to live in RVs, to live in small houses, to live in trailers, just trying to make things easier. Why are they doing that? Would you do that? That's what we're going to talk about today. So I have you out back of my property. I live on 4.5 acres and I live in the country. I live about 45 minutes from the city and I absolutely love it out here. I am not considered off grid. I do have electricity, but I have my own well. I burn my own trash. I recycle what I can and reuse what I can. And I don't have a lot of the bills that people have. I figured up the other day and it costs me roughly $299 a month to live in my house. So that includes my property taxes, my heating, my air conditioning, my electricity, $299. So you can't beat that for a 2-story house. Now, let's talk about why somebody wants to live out here. People will say, oh my gosh, 45-minute drive. Well, 21 miles in the country is 21 minutes. So living out in the country, actually, you get better gas mileage if you're driving a long ways than if you are starting and stopping and starting and stopping in the city. We took a trip here a while back and we were in Miami. We had a 23-mile trip to the airport. It should have took 38 minutes and it took about an hour and 38 minutes because of all of the wrecks that were happening that day. That is not something that I have the patience for. Us country people, we don't have the patience for stoplights. We just don't. I don't know how you could do that. I just don't know how you could do that. I do have a little building out back that I use as storage. That is not my house, by the way, in the background. That's my little storage building. Money hacks for some people, they are all wanting the trick to save money. But when you're frugal, a money hack is just the way of life, just the way you live. And so me living in the country is kind of my money hack. I've learned to live without a lot of the modern conveniences that people have. I don't have a Dillon's a half a mile down or a Kroger or a Walmart. I don't have those things. So in a way, you kind of become a prepper. Not a huge prepper, but you plan ahead. And I think that's a big key to saving money is planning ahead in any regard, whether it's food, household items, if you need candles, if the electricity goes out, if you have savings or an emergency fund. And I don't know where this new coin term emergency fund came from, because when I grew up, it was just called a savings account. And you had one. You made sure that you had one in case things went bad or if you needed money. You didn't use credit for everything. You kept a savings account for stuff. But in the country, I guess my money hacks would be that I have less temptation. Like I said, there's not a Starbucks, there's not a McDonald's, there's none of those things that I can come home and say, oh my gosh, I just don't feel like cooking. Guess what? You're gonna figure something out that's easy because you're not gonna go down the street to get something. It's not an option. It's easy to have no spend days. People talk about no spend days. Oh my gosh, have some no spend days. When you're in the country, there's a lot of no spend days just because you don't have the option to run somewhere without spending a bunch of gas and time. And who wants to do that? Time is precious. And that's one of the reasons I like to live in the country, because it's less stress. And when you have more stress, you're more likely to spend more money and to grab convenience items. And I've talked about that in a lot of my other videos. Stress is a huge, huge thing when it comes to saving money or spending money. You also don't have the burnout in the country that you get in the city. You don't have noise all the time. You don't have lawnmowers going. You don't have horns and sirens going all of the time. And it's so much easier to get back in touch with nature and realize what matters and what doesn't matter. And that a lot of our worries and a lot of our stresses are man-made because of the way that we live in the hustle and bustle of living in the city. A lot of those stressors are all man-made. Look around here. Do you see any man-made stressors? There's none. There's birds singing. There's green foliage. Yeah, there's some poison ivy. That might be a stressor. But there's no stressors out here. It's peace and it's relaxing. It makes it where you're able to think straight, plan, and really know what you want out of life. It helps so much for me to just come out here and just be out here. Just be. So if you're living off grid, let me know you're living off grid and where you're living. I am living in Kansas. It is still one of the cheaper areas to live, but not everybody wants to live in Kansas. I was born and raised here. That's one of the reasons that I'm still here. The winters are kind of rough, and they're even rough in my old farmhouse. It gets really cold. We're cold a lot of the times. We don't have central heat and air. We have a propane stove, and we have window units if it gets really, really hot. But we don't run those things unless we need to. We get a jacket, we put on shorts, we take off layers, we put on layers. We accommodate, we try to live as frugally as we can, because I see myself working for other people long term into my 70s as a stressor. I don't want to work forever. And when I live out here, I'm able to save money. I'm able to plan. I am able to stay focused. And I'm able to grow my own food. There's so many things you can do in the country that are difficult in the city. So hopefully that answers some of your questions on why somebody would live out here. I get that a lot. Why would you live out there? Why would you drive that far to work? I do work at home still part-time, and we're still driving back and forth part-time, so I'm not going in every single day. And that has been really nice. That has even put more focus on why people want to work from home, especially if you live in the country. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you soon.